Sorry about that, guys. But I'm here to give you a little bit of Sonic news, a little bit of an update today. Some Sonic news today for the, what is it, the 28th? Yeah, 28th of June, hard to believe. Yeah, but these 28th of June, that's how I give you a little bit of Sonic news of what's going on. Now, apparently the Mega Drive side comic that Archie Comics is doing with Sega is going to have another issue. We know that's coming, according to what we understand. Now we also have an idea of what the next story arc will be after Shattered World. Now, the only question is, though, we have no idea how this is going to come about. We don't know if it's going to be another Genesis wave that causes this to happen. We don't know. But it's called Genesis of a Hero. Now, I know a lot of people are thinking, oh, great, we'll probably get another Genesis wave, which is understandable when you hear the word Genesis in the title. But I don't think that might be the case. I think what we'll probably get, hopefully, is a flashback. Maybe Sonic reminiscing. Maybe, they get such a victory, Sonic reminisces about what's happened. Maybe he gets interviewed. Maybe he gets interviewed by Breezy. We don't know. Sometimes when this happens, these kind of things happen in flashbacks. Now, again, we don't know exactly the details. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know how it's going to happen. All we know is it's called Genesis of a Hero. Now, it might just be, here's the thing, it might just be a 4-part side story that has nothing to do with the main continuity. And it's just something required to celebrate the 25th anniversary. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. Well, wait a minute, what are you talking about? Let me explain. When we had Worlds Collide, okay, when Worlds Collide happened, okay, Worlds Collide happened in the middle of 247, after 247, right? And it had no lingering impact whatsoever. Had no lingering impact whatsoever. I mean, not even Sonic or Eggman remembered. Well, I think they did, but they did. But the thing is, their crossover with Mega Man at that time had no impact whatsoever. Same with Worlds Unite. Those interrupted, and even though in a sense they took place within the same continuities of all the books that were a part of it, they had no real significance whatsoever. Never brought up again. So that's my theory here. It's the same thing with the Sonic Genesis arc that came out years ago. Yes, it was a bit of an origin story of Sonic meeting the Freedom Fighters, but a retelling, if you will. But it had no significant impact whatsoever on the book itself. It was just something to celebrate the anniversary, I think, at the time, either it's the anniversary of the comic or the anniversary of, I think it was the anniversary of the franchise itself at the time, but just like this one is here. So basically that's what it was. So my interpretation is that probably what we're going to get with Genesis of Hero. Basically, it's going to be a side story, whether it's Genesis Wave affected or it's not Genesis Wave affected. It's going to be something that has no bearing whatsoever on the continuity. The only bearing it might have on the continuity, if you will, is if it's an origin story of how Sonic came to be, because the title is called Genesis of a Hero. Now, I know some people might be worried about this, but when I think about it, I think that's basically what it's going to be. It's either going to be Genesis Wave, it's going to be either Genesis Wave affected, or it's just going to be a flashback story of how Sonic became a hero. And it's not the first time flashback stories have been in multi-parts in this series. I recall back, even when Penders was on the book, and I think it was he was in his final run or something like that, and you had Sonic telling Amy a flashback story of the original freedom fighters before him and the established freedom fighters came to be. And that lasted for about 2 issues, and that was a two-parter. Now, I'm pretty sure that if Genesis of a Hero happens, that to compensate, the backstories, if there are backstories, will be set within the continuity that we have, but we'll just have to wait and see. Again, we don't know much details except for what I found out at certain websites, that Genesis of a Hero is going to be the next story arc. Now, again, I don't know if they're going to do another retcon reboot or whatever, because if you're piecing the world together, I know the one thing that's going through people's minds is Ian Flynn just might, after storyline-wise the world's pieced back together, might just have things restart all over again in 288. And that's where Genesis of a Hero comes in. And that might be the case. I'm not saying that's the case. I'm not saying it is, and I'm not saying it's not. But what I'm saying is we don't know the details yet. I don't know any synopsis yet. We'll probably get one before this day's out if we do. Because I know that a lot of fans are curious about this. I'm curious about it because we have no idea exactly what this could mean, or anything. It's like, because I know one thing that's going through a lot of people's minds are, seriously, are we rebooting the comic again? Are we restarting the comic again? And I don't know. Honestly, I don't really know what's happening. All I know is Genesis of a Hero is the next arc, and we'll just have to wait and see. Again, we don't know yet. That's what I'm trying to figure out right now, trying to see right now. We don't know yet. That's the thing, we don't know. As I'm doing this, there's even some people still guessing of what it could be. But a lot of people are looking and aiming towards an origin story, possibly a flashback. Again, we don't know exactly how that's going to be. Exactly how it's going to come about, because as noted and as I said, they have done this before. They did this, they did this, because they did this beforehand with, they did this beforehand. Obviously in Sonic X, they did it with the Sonic Genesis, and recently, and of course currently with Mega Drive. So we don't know exactly what's going to happen here. What we do know is it obviously, again, sounds like it's going to be an origin story, but again, we don't know if it's going to be through flashback. We don't know if it's going to be Genesis Wave affected. No one really knows just yet. So, but right now, that's the next. That is, according to Sonic Stadium, that is the story. That is the title of the next story arc, Genesis of a Hero. So again, we don't know exactly how it's going to come to be, how it's going to be done. How it's, how we're going to see this Genesis. Again, my interpretation is my thought, my opinion is we might get some kind of like an interview like flashback. Because again, going back to what I was talking about in the original timeline, when Sonic would would tell Amy about the original freedom fighters that came before him and his friends, that was told in multiple parts. So I wouldn't be surprised if this happens here too. Now I understand. Now, one thing some people have pointed out is, if this is an origin story, it's got to take place after Sonic meets the freedom fighters. It's got to take place after that. Now, that might be the case. That might be the case, but then again, there's several origins that indicate Sonic met the freedom fighters after they heard about his heroics, around around certain zones and on the planet. So, I would have to assume that this is going to be mostly Sonic 1 related. Because when one thinks about it, the Sonic Genesis deal with Sonic 1 and Sonic 2 combined. This sounds like it's going to be Sonic 1 related and maybe pre-Sonic 1 related, because there is no actual origin story of how Sonic decided, hey, I'm going to fight this Dr. Eggman and I'm going to make sure no one else gets hurt anymore. We've never known about that, so we might be getting that finally here. So that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that's what it's going to be. And again, here's why. Because one, it's the anniversary, and two, if it's not Genesis Wave affected, it's either going to be, like I said, through flashback via interview, or it's going to, it could also be the Freedom Fighters talking about how Sonic came to be. How they were inspired about what they heard and what he had done. I don't know. Maybe that's what it's going to be. We don't know. It could be anything. Obviously, it could be anything. There's even a possibility, and Sega's known to do this. They might just make this a side story that happens and has nothing to do with continuity. Like I said, with Worlds Unite and Worlds Collide, it has nothing to do with the continuity. It might be mentioned or referenced, but has nothing to do with it. It's just a side project they want done, so it celebrates Sonic's anniversary, and then you go back to the regular continuity. And when one thinks about the timing of this, it actually works out pretty well, because you have the end of October and into the beginning of November when the first part comes out. You have the second part in late November, early December. You have the third part in late November. You have You have the first part in late October, early November. The second part in late November, early December. The third part in early December, not early December, late December, early January. And then you have the fourth part, late January, early February. So basically, it sounds like to me that the positioning of this, even though it was pushed back a little bit, the positioning sounds like they want to start 2017 off fresh. Like this anniversary arc, because that's obviously what it is going to start things out fresh. Not fresh, but this anniversary arc is either going to be mandated by Sega, like, hey, you have to do this. Even if it interrupts the continuity, you have to do this. Or it's just going to be, like I say, a flashback or something. I don't really know. So it could be any of those. But I got a feeling the reason they're doing it, and even though the timing might be a little off release-wise, but it sounds like it's good timing anyway, then they can start off officially most of 2017 on a high note. Now, the biggest question is how Sonic Universe might be affected. How's this going to come into play? Well, I think Sonic Universe will be alright. I think they got ideas for Sonic Universe already set in stone, so it doesn't interrupt what's going on in the main comic. Now, unless they tie in this into Sonic Universe, that's an entirely different story, but I don't think so. But yeah, Genesis of a Hero, that is the next Sonic, the next story arc in the comic. And again, it just might be, in my opinion, it just might be a mandatory anniversary arc they need to get done that they were probably planning on doing to end the year with and not have it go into the next year. That's what I'm thinking. So yeah, Genesis of a Hero is the next story arc in the main Sonic comic book. And speaking of the main Sonic comic book, it looks like 282 was the last, as of right now, the last issue to have two stories separate. Even though they took place within the same continuity, they took place within the same story arc, same storyline. Basically, it sounds like, for right now, 282 is the last one to have an A story and a B story. So, because 283, as I mentioned in my review, is one full issue, no backup stories. And the same goes with Panic in the Sky, and it sounds like the same's going to go with Genesis into a Hero. So it seems like we're ending the year with regular full-on issues, unless they decide to throw in a side story for Genesis of a Hero and go from there. I don't really know. Now, even though a lot of people, I'm pretty sure, are happy about that, there is one thing as well. Ian Flynn has, according to some people, Ian Flynn, I guess, has confirmed that there will be a small story arc that leads us into 300. Now, whatever this could be is going to be kind of interesting. Is it going to be related to Genesis of a Hero? Is it going to be something new? What is it going to be? We don't know. Because I do know that 88, 89, 90, and 91 will be Genesis of a Hero. He will have 8 issues after that to figure out what is going to. We'll have 8 issues after that to figure out what's coming up next. Now, I know a lot of fans like myself are a little concerned about the Satyam characters, the Satyam Archie characters. Will they be around? I'm pretty sure they will be, because you can't just reestablish these characters with Origins and all that and showcase Sonic meeting up with them and them being inspired by them and them becoming friends, and if in the case of certain characters probably more so than that. You can't just do that and then decide to wipe the slate clean again. You can't do that. So I don't think, so again, getting back to that Genesis of a Hero deal, I don't think that's going to have any, honestly, I don't think it's going to really have any consequence on the main arc unless it's Genesis Wave related, but I don't think so. And if it is, who knows? But again, after Genesis of a Hero, we will have 8 issues to wonder what he has planned for 300. And all I could say is, if you're heading into the 300th issue, within right now as we speak, what is it going to be? 16 months. You're 16 issues away from issue 300. You're 16 issues away from issue 300. And all I could say is, you better have something planned, and that's major, and it's going to be bigger than what you had originally planned, than 250. So hopefully we'll find out what it is real soon, but we just don't know yet. I'm sure he's already has it written down, ready to go and everything, but we don't know yet. He probably has a rough draft or something like that lined up, and we don't know yet. So again, like I said, we don't know yet, so we'll just have to wait and find out exactly what that will be going in to into 300. And ironically, when we get to 291, which 288 is going, like I say, is going to be around late October. 289 is going to be late November. 290 will be late December, and 291 will be late January. So you're looking at February, which is 292, March, which is 293, April, which is 294, May, which is 295, June, a year from now, which is 296, I should say, 296, July, which is 297, August, which is 298, September. You're looking basically at October of next year. Like I said, you've got March, which is going to be 292. You've got April, which is going to be 293, May 294, June 295, July 296, August 297, September 298. Actually, it's going to be around November or October. Yeah, that's about right. Because again, like I said, late January, February. So late February, 292, 293 in March, 294 in May, 295 in June, 296 in July, 297 in August, 298 in September, 299 in October. So basically, you're looking at November of next year. So he's got literally, and we've got literally 16 or 16 months, starting with issue 284, to find out exactly what he's got planned. And that's my door alarm that's barking. Yeah, I have it on a dog's barking, so one of the alarms anyway. But yeah, we basically have 16 issues starting with 284 to figure out exactly what he's planning for 300. And if we know Ian Flynn, now that he's basically near completion of finally his magnum opus, the one story arc that he wanted to define him no matter what, he's going to have to work harder to top this. And now he says it's a short 4-issue arc that leads us into 300. Now, Ian Flynn has been known to do this. He did this with the 3-parter that led us into 200. So like I said, he's known to do this. But will he follow through? Will he make it? Will he follow through? Will he be able to top himself? That is the question. Will he do something similar to 300 to when we led into 200, or will it be different? If he does something similar, expect it. If he doesn't, then don't expect it. But I do expect this. A lot of people are noticing that Sega, according to them, are loosening the grip, are basically relaxing, saying, hey, don't worry about it. This might be the opportunity a lot of Son Alley fans have been waiting for. This might be it. You know, Ian Flynn has basically, as of right now, given the whole romance relationship deal a rest for literally 32 issues. 32 issues. And when one thinks about it from a Sonic Sally perspective, has literally, at the end of 230 and mostly 231, given that relationship a rest for 53 issues. 53 months. That's right, 53 months. You are looking at 2 years and 7 months. 2 years and 5 months. Yeah. 2 years, because 48 months is 2 years. 49, 40, 50, 51, 52, 53. So literally 2 years and almost 2.5 years he is given it a rest. I think, and I'm not trying to be biased here, but I think it is time to bring this relationship back to the forefront. You've had a long enough time to do it. This is going to be the opportunity. And if what a lot of fans are looking at is true, then this is the best time to do it, because Sega has basically said, okay, we're loosening our grip. Do what you have to do to expand the Sonic deal and go from there. If the other news is any indication of Sega wanting to make Sonic an entertainment icon, then this is the best opportunity. This is the best window that's opened to make it happen. And it doesn't matter if he has a love interest in Sally in the comics. If you want to say he has a different love interest in Boom with Amy Rose, then go with that. He can have a relationship with Amy in Boom. He can have a relationship with Sally in the comics. There you go. And it's like I said before, and I mentioned this to a friend of mine. You look at it as if it's different dimensions of Sonic, different alternate worlds. You leave it at that, there you go. It's kind of like with the Ninja Turtles. With the new one, a lot of people are in favor of Donatello and April being together. Okay, you like that? That's fine. Leave it in that version of the Ninja Turtles. So that way, those that are more used to Casey and April can have theirs in another place. You get the idea. But overall, what I'm saying is, this is the best opportunity. But again, we don't know what he's got planned for 300, but honestly, I might be a little biased here, but as a longtime fan for the past 20 plus years, I hope he does finally let himself or somebody build this relationship back up and make it happen in time for 300. That's just my opinion, a little bit of a biasness, but I would like to see it happen. And I'm sure a lot of you, biased or not, would like to see it happen too. But that's just the Sonic news for today, June 28th, 2016. I'm about to get ready for work here, so thank you all for listening. Sorry it went for so long. Take your time in listening, and I'll talk to y'all later.